New year means new movies. Let's start off with a horror movie, Wolfman from Blumhouse Pictures. Talk about it.
You okay?
With Blumhouse, you know there's going to be a good amount of gore in these movies. And you know what? That's okay because they make horror movies. You can't have horror movies without gore. And you know what? This movie, Wolfman, does not disappoint in that regard. This is a nice, unique take on the movie, and I'll explain what I mean by that in just a minute. But let's just give a little bit of background here. The man, he finds out his father's dead. He needs to go take care of the affairs there. Takes his wife and his loving daughter to where his dad lives, way down deep in the woods where there's no cell service or anything happen. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I'm not a camper, so I don't think anything really good happens in the woods, except for murder, apparently, in any horror movie. Okay, so let me just tell you guys, if y'all saw Ozark, you know that Julia Gardner was a great actress, and she played a great psycho, but she plays a decent wife in this. She plays Charlotte, and her husband is played by Christopher Abbott. Her husband's name is Blake, and you would have seen him most recently in the Sony Marvel movie Kraven the Hunter, which was no good. And he was just okay in that. The daughter played it. She did a great job. Most of these little kids in these horror movies do a decent job. Her name was Matilda Firth, and she played Ginger. They did a good job, okay, for what they were given. And the interesting aspect of this, which was more than I can say that I've seen in any werewolf movie before, was so. I tell you what, let me give you a better example of when you see vampire movies, you see how they see things. You see, let's just say, for instance, Twilight, everything's glittery, right? Glitter vampires. But in this, a werewolf movie, you see it through the werewolf's eyes, and it's pretty cool because everything is just heightened. You can hear the sounds just pounding away, and it it's brighter because it's at night. Everything's dark, but with this, you're seeing it through his eyes, and you're seeing that everything is more luminescent and a little bit smoky in a lot of ways. But also, the transformation is pretty cool because as he's having that transformation, he's changing. You see he can start to not understand his wife anymore. He can't understand the language, and she can't understand him. And so he starts to lose little bits and pieces, pieces of his hair, his teeth, all this stuff. And you know what? It's a good long transition instead of, let's just say, some of the other movies where it just happens super quick. Now, I tell you what, let's do a little quick history lesson on werewolf movies, okay? Now, in 1921, you had the original Wolfman movie in 1941. The next one that we actually really know about is a horror classic, An American Werewolf in London. A horror classic. You can't go wrong with watching that at Halloween. But I mean, it's funny though, you look back on that now and it looks really cheesy and kind of bad, but back then it was awesome. And also in 1981, there was a werewolf horror series of movies that came out, starting with The Howling. Nah, those were okay. They not great, but okay, still fun to watch if you're a horror fan. And then also in the 80s, we had a great little comedy. You might know it, Teen Wolf, Michael J. Fox. The next one we see is The Wolfman with Jack Nicholson in 1994, and then back to it with The Wolfman in 2010 with Benicio del Toro. Now, I just gave you a lot of the history. Now, with this one, it's good because you are in the woods, and that's what you expect with a wolf, okay? But you're in a little cabin, kind of like the Evil Dead, okay? And you got no power, you got no way to get out, no cell service, of course, and it's a great little tragedy.
You're scaring me! Back off! Hand on it.
When it comes out on streaming, you should definitely watch it. If you're a horror fan, if you're a Blumhouse fan, definitely watch it. If you want to go see it in the theater, if you're a horror fan, go watch it. Otherwise, wait for it to come in streaming, and if you want to see it, it's there. Okay? I go to these horror conventions a lot, and I know that people are going to say that this was fun. This was a good movie for them. And it was. But for the average Joe, not so much. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to ask you, please, if you like this, if you want to hear more of me, if you don't like me, hit the dislike button. But please don't. Just only hit the like. Leave me a comment. Tell me one way or the other what you thought. And until then, I will see you at the movies, on my couch, by my iPad, and folks, that's all you're going to see me at. Bye.